Okay, we'll call the January 6, 2015 Board of Commissioners meeting to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we'll continue with agenda review.
Mr. Chair, there are no changes to the agenda today.
Okay. Motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. We'll move on to appointing the chair and vice chair. Have a nomination for chair.
Mr. Chair, I'll nominate Commissioner Vance Struenberg.
Okay. Is there a second to that?
Second.
Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's carried. I have a nomination for vice chair.
I would nominate Kip.
Okay. Is there a second to that?
I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We have appointed the chair and vice chair. Okay, I turn the meeting over to Chairman Vance Struenberg.
Well, first I'd like to say one thing before Vance does, if that's okay. 'Cause I know he's going to say a few words, but thank you for serving for the last year, Will, as the Blue Earth County Chair. I know it takes a lot of extra signatures and things, and I almost got carpal tunnel syndrome last year when I was serving. So, how's your wrist and how's your...
I'm doing okay. Had to have a little therapy, but other than that, that was an honor to serve.
Thank you. Yeah.
Well, and I appreciate you placing me in this position. Will, you've always been my mentor, and I really appreciate all that you've done. Also understand that you're going to have a somewhat of a hellacious weekend coming up since you're having your knee replaced on Friday. And been through that, and I'll make sure I get up there and help you straighten your leg out a little bit afterwards.
I appreciate that.
Let's see. We go on the committee assignments.
I will move the committee assignments.
I'll second them.
Any discussion?
The only one point is I just thought I'd mention, if we want to get it written maybe more correctly, is on my, it's called the, it's a sidearm, sort of as a South Central TZD, towards zero death thing with MnDOT, is that each county's trying to sort of slowly develop their own committee. And so ours is called the Blue Earth County Safe Roads TZD. And so maybe that could just, small adjustment on the name.
Adjustment should be made.
Okay.
Commissioner Campbell, then that would be the South Central Towards Zero Death Committee. You want that particular one changed, or the Safe Roads Committee? There's two of them listed.
Yeah, the MnDOT South Central Towards Zero Death stays the same. That's a committee that I serve on. That's the steering committee for MnDOT for South Central. Okay. And so that is called, let's see here, it's called South Central Towards Zero Death Steering Committee. And it could be called MnDOT Committee if you want to. The second one there would be then no South Central in front of it, but just it could be B.E if you want to, for Blue Earth County. B.E and then County Towards Zero Death, or not Towards Zero Death, but Safe Roads Committee. And then just put TZD behind it so they know maybe it's connected somehow or something. But
Right, thank you.
yeah.
Do we need an amendment for that? Since
Probably wouldn't hurt.
You want to make just an amendment
Okay,
to cover
I'll
that?
make a friendly amendment then, that if we just clarify the title of that one committee, and it could be Blue Earth County Safe Roads Committee dash TZD.
Okay.
That's okay?
That's fine.
Okay.
Any other discussion? We'll have a vote on the amendment. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Same. We'll have a vote on the motion for the board committee assignments. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Well, that's passed. And then we have our board meeting calendar.
I'd move approval.
Second.
Any discussion on this? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against? Passed. We got our commissioners' reports on committees. Who wants to start?
I can start.
Go ahead, Drew.
Okay. It's been, well, we went over the holidays, you know, so it's been about 3 weeks. December 16th was our last county board meeting. And immediately after our meeting, I couldn't have lunch with you guys because I was ordered to appear and place myself in jail up at the Buster's Bar and Grill. And this was on behalf of the March of Dimes. They have a program where you sit in a big room with a bunch of people and you call people to try to get bail money to get so you can be relieved and go. And thanks to you, all the whole board, including myself, we all pitched in to get most of my, or get a good chunk of my funds. And I'd like to thank you for that. And then also I called my daughter out in Colorado, and she said, well, how much you got left? And it was, you know, a fairly good amount. She goes, well, I'll just pay for it, Dad, so you can get out of there. So she
No kid wants their dad in jail.
Right. And so it was nice. And there was a lot of people in our community that were there, and I was surprised. There's people there that are in more big business. They're more involved with a lot of corporations and people locally, and they were calling up and asking for $200, $300 at a time, and people were getting it over the phone. Just boom, 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 boom. I couldn't believe it. Some really good fundraisers from our community that go up there, and it was kind of fun to watch it all happen. And it was kind of, I'd encourage you, if you ever want to, if somebody puts you in jail, not to be too disappointed, because it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
And they do feed you too. They feed you in jail up there.
Jail food's pretty good?
Yeah, it was good. Up at Buster's. And then, of course, we all enjoyed the employee holiday open house that we had here in that afternoon on December 16th. And it was good to see all the staff that came to that and enjoyed the fellowship. On the 17th, I had a meeting with environmental services staff regarding, you know, we've been talking about the middle Minnesota watershed issues, and Bob's fully aware too. So I met with some of the environmental services staff. For the next day, which was Thursday the 18th, we had a meeting with Nicollet and the Seward County commissioners and with their staff, water planners and such, to see if we were going to move forward in a more formal way for developing the middle Minnesota watershed, which has never really been fully developed. And we decided that it's still premature. We all agreed that we should maintain contact with each other, and that once a year we should have some formal reports on things that, like what the Minnesota Pollution Control reports have come up with, and what some of the SWCDs and Bowser and things like that, they come up with reports on the condition of our water and in this region. So they're finishing that up right now, collecting all that data. And so we'll meet hopefully sometime within another year. Right, Bob? Anything else you wanted to share about that?
No, I think you covered it all.
Okay. And then some of us attended, I guess, the Blue Earth County Township officers, known as the Bicado. And that we always meet up at the Benco building, and our county engineer, Al Forsberg, gave a good update there. The 19th, on Friday, I was a volunteer Santa's helper at Luther Memorial Home in Medelia. I enjoyed doing that. I've been doing that for about, I don't know, 6-7 years, I suppose. And then on Wednesday...
Were you the elf then, or?
Well, I was dressed up as Santa Claus, but...
Oh, really? The big elf.
The big elf, yeah. And I'll tell you, that dining hall was packed. And there's no place to park outside. And they have a huge parking lot.
Wow.
And there was, I think they figured there's 150 people minimum. And they only have 65 residents.
Yeah.
So
You would make a good Santa Claus.
it was fun, yeah. I usually sing a few songs and get them to sing along, you know. You gotta sing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and things like that, so. And then on the 24th, Christmas Eve, I was greeted with Blue Earth County Deputy Sheriff at my doorway, and was delivered legal documents from our former County Attorney Ross Arneson regarding the new budget appeal for the year 2015. And then yesterday, I attended our new county attorney swearing in, taking the oath of office, Pat McDermott, sitting right here. And also then Vance and I were sworn in right after that, so it was kind of a interesting Monday morning. It was kind of
Nice
to see. You don't see that very often in most counties. There's not too many. It takes years of changeover a lot of times for county attorneys like that. So it was nice to see everybody that attended. And that's my report, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Will?
Yeah, I've just got a couple things to add from what Drew had. I had on the 18th, I had the Rural Minnesota Energy Board Legislative Committee met here at the courthouse, and we met with our lobbyists and talked about things we want to bring forward to the legislature in 2015. And then that same afternoon, Vance and I met with the sheriff and county attorney-elect just to talk about some issues moving forward, and of course the township officers that night. On the 30th, Vance and I took the staff out for lunch to thank them for their service through the year. And then yesterday I was also at the swearing in to wish my colleagues well, and that brings us up to today.
Kip?
My report is relatively short also. Again, I thought the cookie event went really well, and
Yeah.
we even had some healthy stuff this year with a fruit tray and a veggie tray.
Go figure.
Yeah,
Healthy.
we're getting there, yeah. But no, I thought we had a good turnout, and everybody seemed to have a positive feedback with that. The next day, Mark and I were busy getting the sharing tree gifts over to the armory and got them all loaded up and distributed. Then I think the only real committee meeting that I had the last couple weeks was our MVAC meeting, and we did hire a new executive director for up there.
Really?
Amanda Mackey. She will actually not be officially appointed the director until after our meeting on the 26th. We need a supermajority vote by the whole board, but she has been hired by the executive committee and approved by us. So I think we'll be okay as far as the full board goes. But a very bright young lady. I think she'll do a great job up there. And she actually started yesterday. I just talked to John this morning. He said she seems like she'll be a good fit for up
She
there.
used to work at Horizon Homes.
Yes. Was
At
it
the
Horizon?
Crisis Center.
Yep. And she did a great job there. So we had 4 good candidates, but she came out on top and worked out really well. So
Yep.
we'll have a new director up there. And other than the busyness of the holiday seasons, I hope everybody had a good holiday seasons and Happy New Year. Brings me up to today.
Nice.
Well, I can skim over mine. December 18th, that was at the Habitat office, Habitat for Humanity office. We had an announcement for a $740,000 donation, which would will go towards helping build the new habitat, because they just don't have enough room right now. And if we can get another building built, we can start getting enough to build another extra house every year here in Mankato.
Wow.
Which of course with our housing issues are very important. Attended the township officers meeting that evening. On the 23rd, I had an airport commission meeting. On the 29th, I had a board meeting for Habitat for Humanity, and was elected or placed into the vice chair position. I'm not sure if you want to call it elected. That evening, I volunteered for the holiday lights down at Sibley Park for the Children's Museum. On the 30th, again, we had our lunch with the administration staff, and it's always nice to do. On the 2nd, I went to retired probation officer's wake. Kind of a sad event down at Centenary. And then we had our swearing in yesterday morning. Me and Drew and Mr. McGinnis. So that's the end for me. Administrative services, Bob?
First up would be the county board minutes for December 16th of 2014.
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Against? Passed. For bills?
I'll
Still
move the
got time
bills.
for our bills? Yeah.
Yep, I'll move the bills.
Second.
Any discussion?
I got a couple of questions.
There you go.
Isn't this, are we gonna rename this? Stump the county administrator or not? No. No, it's something always sticks out to me whenever I see an even amount. It just makes me, kind of want to ask. And so, there's the first week, confidential vendor, payment for recipient exactly $3,000. And I just kind of, if you
Those
can't say
are,
anything here, but I don't know.
You've telegraphed your desire to identify those even dollar amounts, so I did look that one up. Those are parenting assessments through the Human Services Department. There's actually 2 of them, and we have a contract that pays Carlson Consulting $1,500 per
Oh, I see.
assessment.
Okay. That makes sense. Then, I know we've had this on before, but I've seen it a couple times. Don Harstead, probably a carpenter or something, but $26,000. I'm just curious what project that was on, Bob.
Those are our electronic door openers, and so as you use our card key, the doors themselves have electronics in them, and so there was some replacements in a number of county buildings.
For the handicap side or something?
Well, even our internal security card key stuff.
Oh, wow. So that's a little spendy, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, they're not cheap to fix.
So, I mean, it was a particular door, or was it just a...
There was a number of them in, I think, the Justice Center, the Government Center, and the courthouse. So it was some budgeted repairs and replacements.
Wow, okay, I didn't know about that, okay. And then, I was just curious about something. I know I saw there was 4 of them listed for INS Group, and I don't know if they interrelate with each other or not, but they were all together. One was like $1,500 and something, one was $27,000, one was $1,500 and something, another one was $2,000. One was a building improvement for $1,500, then contracted services for $27,000, facility repair for $15,000, and then a site grounds thing for $2,000. I was just wondering, just something goes through my mind is I hope we're not paying for $27,000 worth of engineering to do $1,500 worth of work, and that's what just goes through my mind.
Sure.
So I just want to ask.
The $27,000 relates to 8 different public drainage ditch projects.
Oh, ditch. Okay.
So that's the majority of it. The other building improvements and facility repair maintenance things, those are progress payments on projects that we've asked for assistance from INS for building types of projects that we have going on.
So they design something, write up something?
Yeah, the courthouse parking lot, the Justice Center, there's some site improvements there.
Okay.
In the Government Center, we're looking at revamping the mental health area to
Yep.
accommodate staffing and service needs there. So just a lot of different projects that they're involved with.
Okay. Well, that's good. Then second week was Arnold's of Mankato equipment purchase for $18,600. I just was curious what it was, that's all.
It's a batwing mower in the Public Works Department, so they purchased a new mower.
Okay. Yeah, I remember Al talking about that on our trip we took, our tour.
Sure.
He mentioned something. Infotech Research Group, it's a research group. Other fees for $10,335. Just wondering who we pay that's a research group.
You want me to cover that one, Bob?
Sure, you know, off the top of your head.
What Infotech is they are an IT advisory and research group. They publish a number of research papers. They also publish a lot of project plans for if you want to do a particular type of IT project. They have project planning documents They will actually research things. What we found is it's more economical to go with them than to engage individual consultants for individual projects, because we can get kind of an all-in-one service for an entire year with our subscription to Infotech.
Oh, so this is a subscription?
It's a subscription, yeah.
Oh, okay, that's not like a
And what we found
one.
is that there are a lot of other small to medium-sized counties in Minnesota that are also subscribers to Infotech.
Wow, okay. That's interesting to know. Very interesting. And then, thank you, Charlie. Chris Engineering, other maintenance supplies for the shop, $26,000, 891.
Those are cutting edges for the plows up in the Public Works Department.
Yep, they're expensive, aren't they? And then just because it's on there, usually don't see it too often. The big one, $6,500,000 in checking. I was just kind of curious, did it get moved or something? I didn't.
Yeah, it's typical at this time of year with the second half property tax collections. We move money into a savings account or a trust account. So it's just moving dollars within the various accounts that the
Okay.
county maintains.
All right. And I saw a couple for Staples. The last one was for $66,000 for office furniture or something. I don't know. It just seemed like a high amount. I didn't know where that went. Wondering who got it, or I'm sure the chairs wear out.
Yeah, there were chairs that were ordered for the Human Services Department. There's also some cubicles that we're redoing in the Government Center for Human Services as a result of staffing increases. We needed to fit 10 people in a spot where we currently have 8, so we needed to reconfigure some of that. There's also some other reconfiguration going on within the Human Services Department of cubicles.
So it's mostly for hard items then?
Absolutely.
You think? It's not
Yep.
planning or?
No, it's all equipment, office equipment,
Okay.
desks and cubicles.
It'll be nice to hear once we get a study in, I think, as far as space study. Because you see these things coming up periodically, and then you wonder, well, how would this space study affect us? You know, will it impact what we've done? We have to undo it, or what we're going to do?
One of the challenges we're facing is when we add staff to a particular unit, it's nice to keep those workers closely connected because they're oftentimes covering for one another, and so trying to shoehorn folks into an area that's already filled is a challenge. But you're right, as we look at this space study and we're getting that project going, that will tell us a little bit more in terms of how we should be planning for the future.
Okay. That's all I have. The bills, Mr. Chair, and hope I didn't
No, that's
too
good.
long. Okay.
Anybody else?
No, that's good.
Thanks, Bob.
You know, I had probably one of the smallest bills on there, but it just was hard to figure out. Hy-Vee for drug testing for 14/22,
Do you know which week it was in?
first week. It just, when I saw drug testing and I saw Hy-Vee, and I'm going, okay, it's only $14.22, but
Probably supplies.
You're going to win the prize. You know that, don't you?
yeah, they're used to looking up the big ones.
It is listed as supplies as
Okay.
part of the drug court.
Oh,
And that
okay.
makes sense.
Could be
And they got one right
kit
below
or something.
Got one right below for other fees. It's 1422.
Yeah.
So it's just how they're coding it.
I'm sure. All right. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Against? That's passed. It looks like Charlie's up.
Good morning.
Morning, Charlie.
Morning, Charlie. How are you?
Doing well. So, what I'm bringing to you this morning, I believe it's tab 15, has to do with it's another one of our IT infrastructure upgrades. I can't remember if we talked about this at the work session, but this is the last of the major infrastructures that we're upgrading at this point in time. What it is we have a big central data storage unit that most of our county computer systems share, and that particular unit doesn't have the speed and the capacity to keep up with the needs of the county anymore. So what this proposal will do is replace that old data storage unit. It was purchased in 2011 with a projected 4 to 5 year lifespan, so we're coming up on 4 years right now. And like I said, it's just built on older technology. It doesn't have the speed to keep up with the demands that the rest of the county are putting on it. So the process that we used, what we IT staff came up with a set of specifications. Earlier in the fall, we went out for quotes from 4 individual companies, asked them for quotes on the exact same storage unit. At that time, the quotes were quite high, so we decided not to act on them. What we found over the years, especially over the last 10 to 15 years, is that oftentimes technology companies have end of quarter incentives. They often have end of year incentives when they're trying to boost their sales figures. So we thought it might be worthwhile to go back to these companies and ask them if they could better their price at year end, just suspecting that there might be some incentives out there they could take advantage of. So we did get some quotes back from the 4 original companies. We also had another company that was interested. We invited them to provide a quote this time around. We asked them for a total cost of ownership, which would be the purchase of the unit, the software, the installation, and 4 years of maintenance, because we wanted to lock in our price for the entire 4-year projected lifespan of this. So what we found going out the second time around was that we got a variety of prices back. As you see here, the lowest one was from Emergent Technologies. Prices ranged all the way from what Emergent quoted up to another company from the Twin Cities. Their quote was $311,000, and that was only for 3 years of maintenance. That was not for 4 years of maintenance.
That's a little different.
Yeah, it's quite a bit of
Maybe
difference.
they kept somebody on site right here though.
If the board is interested, I've got a recap here of all the different quotes that we got. We did ask for both for options on 3 years of maintenance and options on 4 years of maintenance. One of the companies did supply a quote where they were going to use our part of our 4-year-old equipment and just add some new front ends to it. We decided that for the price that they were asking, we could actually buy something new as opposed to just taking half of our old stuff and trying to extend the life of it when it was starting to run out of gas anyway. So, like I said, the quotes range from the Emergent quote, this is for 4 years of maintenance, total cost of ownership, all the way up to $311,000 from a company called Zios up in the Twin Cities. We sought quotes from 2 local dealers and also 2 in the Twin Cities and 1 from Chicago, CDWG. So after looking at those, Emergent Networks they're a company that has an office both in Mankato and also in Edina. Emergent was judged to be the lowest responsible quote in this case. They came in under $100,000, so this was done on quotes as opposed to bids. And so our request for action today is to approve the Emergent contract for the price that's shown there, and just wanted to also make the point that these expenses are budgeted in the IT capital budget. So I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, it's my understanding, like, you've got 2 different, you're talking quotes and bids.
Correct.
If it's over $100,000, we need bids, correct?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
And if it's under $100,000, you can get a quote, which is what you're giving us here.
Correct.
In fact, you wouldn't have to bring this to us, isn't that correct?
We would.
You wouldn't have
Would
to
not.
bring this to us because it's under your budget, so you could actually do this on your own, but you're bringing this to us more for our information than
Correct.
anything.
Okay.
And also because if it's over $25,000, the board has to approve it, or at least sign the contract, so.
Okay.
So you're more looking for a signature to sign the contract.
Oh,
Right.
sure.
Okay.
Now, you're right, because it is budgeted.
It's a budgeted
And that's
expense.
something that Bob and I have discussed. Do all of these need to come directly to the board, or is there another way to handle that? And so we could certainly discuss that offline and figure out the best way to streamline things.
That's correct. All right. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Oh, go ahead.
Great. Questions? No questions, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Against? It's passed.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlie.
Thanks a lot, Charles.
All right. Mr. Forsberg.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Morning.
Morning, Al.
Morning, Al.
People are sitting in different places this morning.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Playing Ring Around the Rosie this morning.
And-
This is where it ended up.
Welcome to our new county attorney.
Thank you. You
I'll
check
try to
make-
stay out of trouble and make as little work for you as possible.
Perfect, I'm gonna hold you to it.
Hold you to it.
Oh. Several action items. The Rapidan Dam lease amendment. Commissioner Purvis and I have been working together and have met with the new owners out there. And it's a pretty thick packet because I attached the earlier original lease and lease amendments for your information, for your reference. But basically this does three things. One is it changes the name of the company that's bought out the hydroelectric generation, Rapidan Hydroelectric. And it says we should cooperate and coordinate with Rapidan as we make improvements. And that's because they needed a license from FERC, the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, and our repairs often relate to what FERC wants or doesn't want. But we always have cooperated and coordinated with the electrical generator. It changes the lease payment amount the county receives. In the past, it was a flat 5%, which typically raised $25,000 to $50,000 per year, depending on the amount of generation, the amount of water flows. It raises it to 6% minimum, and then it increases substantially with higher flows. The more flow, the more generation, the more money they make, the higher percentage of that generation they're willing to share with us. So that's important. The previous lease said that if the repairs out there needed exceeded $250,000, the county could choose not to do it. The generator could choose to do it. If they chose not to do it, no lease agreement. This one says that we would set up essentially a fund, and the money the dam earns, whether it's state, federal money specifically provided to the dam for repairs, this electrical generation money goes into that fund. We make repairs out of that fund. If the fund gets broke, we don't have to do any further repairs if we choose not to. So those are the three basic changes. I think it's a very positive thing for the county. I think it's a positive thing for the hydroelectric generating company. With the new agreement, we should average about $100,000 per year. It will vary substantially depending on the year. But we put a lot of effort into going back and looking at past flows. And if we have a similar pattern of flows in the future as we've had in the past, we'll average about $100,000 per year.
Nice.
So those are numbers that we went over at an earlier workshop.
Yeah.
All right. Need a motion for this?
So move.
Second?
Second.
Any questions?
I got a question. I know I tried reading through the whole thing, you know, it's a lot of it's the same thing you had in there before,
Yeah.
so it's just been retooled a little bit. And I was just wondering if it ever goes to our legal with the county, or we have another attorney, somebody look at this before it gets implemented. I just didn't know if it shouldn't be looked at least, I don't know.
I did send it to Pat for his information.
Okay.
It goes back to the original lease was negotiated by Dave Twa, who was a combined attorney and
Right,
CPA,
remember that, yeah.
and Bill's on that.
Okay.
So
I just didn't know.
yeah, I'm comfortable with the language.
Okay.
Good question.
It's a lot.
Any more discussion? No more discussion. All in favor say yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Yes?
Against?
I have to follow your direction.
Yeah. That's a new one. Against? All right. And it passes.
Good, thank you.
Your next part there.
You know, and something like this too is has been a work in progress for the last 2 or 3 years, and you know, it comes to you as well. It came to you in an earlier workshop and comes to you now, but it's been something that's been worked on for a long time.
I think these folks will be a good partners.
Yeah.
It sounds like just a wonderful deal, and I think we've we found that the dam is now doing another job, is keeping some of our lakes and streams clean from invasive species. So that's another help. So.
Yep.
That's true.
A carp that could leap 70 foot is a carp I would not like to ride.
That'd be a heck of a jump, wouldn't it?
I went to a meeting over in New Ulm last summer, and they had brought in some Asian carp, and I'm telling you, they're big.
Yeah.
They're not, these things are huge. They just fresh caught them in Iowa somewhere, brought them up in these huge coolers, and they're, I don't know, 3 feet long and wide, just wide. I mean, they're big.
Yeah.
And a person down there was going up one of the rivers or streams in a small boat, and one leapt out of the water and hit him in the chest and broke his collarbone. If it would have hit him in the head, it could have broke his neck.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's really hard to imagine a fish jumping out of the water and killing you.
Yeah.
But it could happen.
Reminds me of Moby Dick.
Yeah.
Moby carp.
Yeah.
Moby carp. Next item is Bray Park. If you're familiar with the swinging bridge location and the ravine that is underneath it, it's eroding. The Soil and Water Conservation District, working with the Madison Lake Association, SWCD, has developed a grant application. They're making $46,000 in grant funds available to the county, $36,000 for construction, $10,000 for technical assistance engineering to do some erosion control work in that ravine and at the base of the ravine. So, very positive, I think, thing, I think. There's no direct cost to Blue Earth County.
Well, that's even better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, looking for a motion?
I'll move approval.
Second?
Second. I have a couple comments about it.
Go right ahead.
Okay. Because I did notice that over the years when we've been out there. I think I've mentioned to you once before, Al, didn't we talk about it or somebody?
Yep. Oh, our joint park board meeting was out there.
That was it, maybe.
And we walked across the bridge.
Yeah, and you can tell where it's creating a delta out there almost from the erosion coming in from the fields or somewhere. But I do have one request, and I don't know if it's possible to request this, but or to accomplish it. And that is, a lot of times we use riprap for projects, you know. But since this is a park and kids hike around and do different things, is it possible that they wouldn't use riprap, and that if they use it down there for any reason? Because it looks like they're going to make some boulder kind of levee situations to kind of slow the water down. Could they use field stones or boulders of some sort instead? I know it might take a little extra to get that, but it just seems like it would fit in with the park setting so much more, you know, in the future. Because riprap is so unuser friendly. You know, if you're hiking or walking over it, or it's got the crevices and it's just very difficult to be, it's not very user friendly. And that'd be my request.
I imagine it's going to depend on cost.
Yeah, I'm sure there might be a little more to get boulders from
That'd be a lot more.
What do you call it?
Field rock, basically.
Yeah, field rock.
From
And the
farm field
availability of
piles.
it.
Yeah. But
We'll look into that.
Really?
I see what you're saying there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Normally, we would use quarried limestone.
Right.
Or quartzite, which
Yep.
is sharp.
Very sharp.
It's either a reddish pink or if it's quartzite, or it's a tan color if it's limestone.
Yeah.
There might be some possibility using field rock, or maybe putting a thin layer of field rock on top of the other quarried rock.
So you wouldn't see as much of
Yeah.
it then, maybe, something like that, combination. I know and it's not really even fitting. I mean, if you go to any lakes around southern Minnesota, you won't find any limestone sticking out of the ground anywhere. It's pretty unlikely.
Yeah.
And so it's just nice to keep more of a natural sense or settings. You know what I mean?
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I
And if
I
they
don't
have-
think it's not only for kids, but like you said, people that want to just go out hiking and
Yeah.
walking through the park, which is what we have the parks for.
Yeah.
Makes perfect sense.
And it might even mitigate, you know, some sprained ankles or falls on sharp rocks where they get injured.
Yep.
Field stones tend to be more smooth
Yes.
and tend to not create as much of an injury when you fall
Yes.
on them compared to,
Yep.
you know.
The
sharp-
glacier rounded them off.
Yeah.
Or the flowing water.
Yes, yeah. And if you guys, since I am on the Parks Board, I'd like to know if you can't find any, or SWCD can't find any. They're the ones working on it, aren't
Yeah.
they? Because then I could help try to maybe locate
Yeah.
some.
SWCD and their local area engineer will do the design for the project, and then the county would do the contracting for the project.
Oh, I see.
The way the agreement's set up. But we can certainly work with the soil water engineering folks and ask
Okay.
that they consider the field stone rather than quarried
Yeah.
rock.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Good thought,
Is
good
that
idea.
agreeable to the board?
I think it's a great idea.
Okay.
All right,
Okay.
we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion?
The other thing I ask is, do you think it should be put into a formal thing at all, or you want to have more discussion to make sure that it's at
You
least-
know, I think it's something
Okay.
that Al can put together. You probably haven't put together your bid yet anyway,
Right.
and maybe you can put that into the bid
Yes.
to, and then take that into consideration when you accept a bid or not.
What we'll do here is the Soil Water Conservation District will actually design the project in cooperation with us, and we will request they consider fieldstone.
Okay.
I'll report back to you after
Okay.
those meetings on whether that's feasible or not.
All right.
And then we'd have an engineering plan, specs, we would advertise, take bids, and then that would come back to the board for award.
Okay.
So you would know what the final design is, because I'll bring it to you as an information item,
Yeah.
and then also before the award of the contract.
Okay.
That sound good?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. If we have no more discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Against? It's passed.
Okay, some information items. The County 26 project on the north shore of Eagle Lake. As you know, we built a new road on a new alignment. The old road was there by highway easement. We will be going through the process of turning that land back to the underlying landowners now that it's not a highway anymore. And we're working with Steve Fink, a local attorney, real estate attorney, on just how to go about that. We're required, because it's adjacent to the lake, to provide written notice to the DNR that that easement will be vacated. However, it's for their information only. They do not have control over whether it's vacated or not. We'll post a notice, send letters to the underlying landowners, and then I'll bring to the county board in the future a resolution along with any feedback we get to vacate the easement.
So the future county board vacation resolution, I don't think we get vacation time, do we, as a county board?
This is a different kind of vacation, Commissioner.
Yeah, I wish we did though sometimes.
It's a new year too. We got the whole year to go, don't
Yeah.
we, Drew?
So this is for your information that you'll be seeing these notices. The landowners will be getting letters and so on.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, the County 12 project from County 17 to Trunk Highway 83. Project memorandum, ICE reports are complete. We're waiting for MnDOT to do the last signatures on the project memo and the ICE reports. Once that's done, we can formally begin the right-of-way acquisition process. We don't want to actually begin that until all the approvals are in place so that we don't risk our federal funding for the project.
And Al, the ICE means,
Intersection control evaluation.
yeah, intersect, just for everybody's
Yeah.
benefit. Those acronyms can throw off a lot of people. You're looking at ICE, what is this, some
Yeah.
high-tech, thing? But it is kind of technical, isn't it? Al?
There's a lot,
It
of
is
ice, a lot of ice out there today.
Yes, there is. It's a traffic engineering technical report on what's the appropriate intersection type for the various intersections.
Right.
Speaking of acronyms, we have submitted a local road improvement program grant application, which is state funds, for the maximum $750,000 for the project. So we'll be receiving word on that within several weeks. The County 1 project, Old Trunk Highway 66 turnback. We have the final signed receipt of the turnback agreement. We've been surveying on the road. You may have noticed our survey crews. And it's interesting, what used to be 3 or 4 people on a survey crew, we can now often do with 1. The one consideration, though, is the safety of having 1 person out working around traffic. We had, until this cold weather arrived, we had a good opportunity because it was very little snow, and they could do surveying without dealing with the snow in the ditches. The natural preservation route type 3 application, I'd included a copy of the application in your packet, and then yesterday I emailed, the approval came through more quickly than I expected it would, and emailed that approval to you. So from Mankato to County 90 is now a designated natural preservation route type 3. And we'll put up signs designating that as a NPR route.
So it'll actually be posted as such, I mean.
Yes, there will be signs. We're required to post signs saying this is a natural preservation route.
Oh, okay. Maybe on that sign, in parentheses, you could put Old Highway 66.
Yes, we could do that.
That would be kind of nice.
We could
Just
do
for
that.
that section, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I know it was even older when it was CASA 1, I know, but, you know, it'd be nice to have something brought forward.
Reduce confusion for folks too, because, you know, the folks are used to calling it Highway 66, so.
Yeah.
Old Trunk Highway 66?
Yeah,
Sure. We've got that flexibility.
that'd be nice.
In fact, our county highway staff are doing that now, so we don't confuse the project to the south of Good Thunder on one with the project to the north. So we're just referring to it as Old Trunk Highway 66
Yeah.
in-house.
How's that
Okay.
coming along?
We're working with the consultant on the hydrology design, the geotechnical design, the slopes. We're working with one of the landowners where we've got the tight curves. We'll be meeting with Mr. Speck this week. So it's moving forward.
Yeah.
Okay. At our annual safety meeting over the years, on rare occasions, we've taken photos of our crew, and commissioners have been included in those photos.
You always leave me out though.
Oh, are you not in this one?
No.
You must be there someplace.
No.
Chad put together some old photos that I found in our file, actually, of some very old equipment along the top.
We still using that?
Only some of it. One of our snowblowers would almost fit into that category. Then in the lower left corner, there's a 1987 photo. The previous engineer Ralph Sleeper is in the front with the green sweater there.
It's all right, Drew, I didn't get in this one either.
And then on the right is a 2000 photo where we had brought most of our equipment together, and we had a pilot volunteered to fly a photographer to take a picture. And then this one is from 2014, which most of you recall, I think. We've made copies for our crew too. You know, they very much enjoy seeing the whole crew that's been working together. We have a fun project.
Yep, very nice.
It's going to go home in my picture book.
Nice, yeah. Thank you.
Just put one there for Mark.
And then
If there's another one,
We can put it in his box.
if you have any extra ones, well, I'll take
yeah,
those
put
back.
it in Mark's box. Or
No.
put it in Mark's box.
Yeah.
Put it here.
Oh, thank you. So, not a large project, but it's been an interesting one, and I think Commissioner Blunder was down in the Minneopa Tunnel project. So, work down there has been done in stages, really. The county's contract installed a new floor under our half and then short curbs to control the scour underneath the walls. The UP finally came through and shotcreted, relined their half of the tunnel, and the one photo with the light at the end of the tunnel shows that. And then we had some damage to the limestone walls that we did not repair with our contract because we didn't have that kind of a contractor in there. The UP's contractor was that kind of a contractor. So we did a small amount of additional work hiring the UP contractor. And you can see some photos where it went from the rock section that we own to the concrete section. The rock was falling away. They knocked down that loose rock, drilled in some rebar for reinforcement. Another shot showing some rebar that was installed, where the loose rock was knocked off. And then you can see where that's been repaired with shotcrete.
That looks nice.
And when you look here too, you can see this is our new concrete floor. This is the new curb that we installed. That's the old curb, and then this is the repaired area. Let's see, and then,
How far did they come in on that, Al? Cause we were down there that day and it was pretty loose. It was
yeah,
like
from
10 feet, 20 feet?
the concrete back on the order of what, 10, 15 feet?
20 to 25 feet.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice. And the rest of that was pretty solid, if I
Yeah.
remember right.
Yeah.
Just kind of where they did the joint or whatever years
Yeah.
ago, it kind of deteriorated, but yeah, it looked that was kind of weird walking down there without a hard hat on down towards that end. It looked a little leery, but
I've gone in many
That's
places,
amazing what they
many
can
places
do.
over the years that I kind of wondered about afterwards. This photo shows one of the isolated places about halfway down our section of the tunnel where rock was loose. Removed
nice.
the loose rock, shotcreted it, and then they actually scratched some lines in that shotcrete. So you
Really?
can kind of see that pattern. It's kind of a fun thing to do. So I thought you might enjoy that. A lot easier to look at pictures than it is to skid down that hill and get back out of
that
the...
hill's a challenge to get down and back up. I'd rather go up it though than down it. Going
Yes.
down, I thought I was going to end up on my nose.
Yeah. Okay. We're going to be installing PCs in our 5 out-county shops. They don't have them now, and we'll be using that as a device for providing email access to our employees, so we can communicate with them that way, and they can get their pay stubs and so on. They'll have access to the Blue Earth County website. They'll have access to the weather information and radar, which should be helpful to them. We have to maintain what's called material safety data sheets for all materials that they use, which now are Xerox books that are quite thick, and we reproduce paper copies for each of the shops. We can put the MSDS sheets on the computer. They can search for the MSDS sheet that they want. Say they're using a particular brand of herbicide and there's a spill or accident with it, they can go to this and see what the characteristics are for that chemical. And then we want to evolve to where we would be, where each employee would be entering his time sheet on the computer. Instead of doing it by
Nice.
hand now, they come in, they have to be collected from all the shops, brought to our main shop, and then our clerical staff enters them into the computer. With this, they would enter it themselves, they would be reviewed by Chad, approved, and then they would go into the cost accounting system.
You said outside. Do you have a PC for the employees at the Mankato shop?
We will have 2 or 3 at the Mankato shop.
Okay. So every employee will have their own email address, and every employee. So when you send out a thing to all employees will get it. Is
Yes.
that correct?
Yes.
That'll be great.
They'll all have
Yes.
access to it, whether
That'll
or
be
not they
great.
receive it.
Yeah, we
I mean,
can't
it's-
force them to open it up.
Exactly. So-
Just like we
Yeah.
can't force you to open it up sometimes.
That's why I was.
You know, and
You want to get a hold of me, call me.
this would be really nice because, especially in the wintertime when we have snow and ice operations, it's all done by telephone and calls. And so you have your maintenance superintendent making calls at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night, or 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning. We should be able to post an email, say at 4 o'clock, close of business, saying that there is a potential for being called out. These are the guys who would go at 4 o'clock, these are the guys at 6 o'clock. But it's only potential. They would receive a confirming phone call at 4 o'clock in the morning or 6 o'clock in the morning. That doesn't remove the uncertainty completely, but it helps.
You
So
bet.
we're looking forward to this. There's a monthly charge, of course, for the DSL, and to get the computers up, they'll be limited to basically the sites that I indicated, the email and the Blue Earth County website, weather, these material safety data sheets, and then the payroll function when that comes along. All right.
All right.
We hope to implement that over the next several weeks here.
That'll be nice.
14 construction project, the County 14 bridge. The bridge deck was poured and heated and insulated, and we made it through. We had temperature sensors in the deck so we measured the temperature to ensure that it stayed above spec during the curing period. Next week we'll be taking the insulation off, turning the temperature down, putting on the railing, and we hope by the end of next week that the bridge will be open.
Nice.
We'll have temporary gravel surface approaches, so it's going to be bumpy and there'll be warning signs, and the guardrail won't be up until it's paved next spring. Been very frustrating, the delays in getting those beams.
That
Okay.
was all an extra expense then with the insulation and the heating and stuff.
No, well, you know, when we final out the contract, we'll have to figure that out. The county has an argument that they have liquidated damages because they're way beyond the November 1st completion date. They're gonna have an argument they had additional costs. So we'll have to work through that.
Okay.
Between the two, I don't see any significant additional expense to the county. We have had a cost, and now we've had a road closed all this time when it shouldn't have been closed. Okay. And then parks, it's interesting, this report, Greater Minnesota Regional Parks and Trails, and Commissioner Campbell is on the district committee. But essentially, the legislature in 2013 established another commission, Greater Minnesota Regional Parks and Trails Commission. There's 13 members appointed by the governor on that commission. Planning districts were established around the state. We're in District 5. Commissioner Campbell is on that planning committee. It's going to be important to us because in the past, we've gotten legacy grants for various purposes. They were implemented through the DNR. Now they're going to be implemented through this organization. And I think it's only fitting that Greater Minnesota have an opportunity to develop regional parks. The metro area has some huge, very beautiful regional parks. Millions of dollars have been invested in those parks with state money. This is Greater Minnesota's opportunity to develop some regional parks.
And they only give us maybe about a quarter of the dollars for the whole state away from the, you know what I mean, away
Yeah.
from.
But you're going to do a
Metro.
great job of increasing that amount for Greater Minnesota.
Actually, I think that should be one of our efforts, actually.
Yeah. This commission has an operating budget of about almost $400,000 per year
You mean
in administrative costs.
administrative costs?
Yes.
Yeah, but I think it's,
Yep.
it's probably.
Grant amounts is a lot more than that.
Yeah, like 30 million almost, probably a year, close to that.
Yeah. The 400,000 is only 4.5% of the total grant amount.
Yeah.
So you could divide 400,000 by 0.045 and
Well, that's true.
come up with the total amount. Blue Earth County, I believe, has some parks that would qualify as regional parks
Mhm.
now.
Mhm.
The Bray Park, Daly Park, and then not as developed, but certainly with the potential, the Rapidan Dam Park, and the Red Jacket Trail, LeSueur River, Guaranteed Sand and Gravel area. Certainly has the area and the resources and the proximity to a population center here to be a future regional park. So I'm pretty excited about that. This is just starting, it'll develop. I think it's in our interest to stay tuned with it and work with it.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
And a lot of what we do too, just a real quick little thing to piggyback on that is our role for the district, a lot of it isn't really picking, you know, people might think, well, I'm on the commission, so I'm gonna have a lot more pull for our area, you know what I mean? All it's gonna give us really is the information that we need because I'm on that district planning committee. And what they look for is regional, we help set up what are some attributes that are regionally significant. You know what I mean? And so that could be anywhere in southern Minnesota, and any park or any trail. And they're leaning pretty heavily towards trail development in southern Minnesota. So connectivity to regionally significant parks,
Right.
like the Rapidan Dam Park, keeping that connection with even the Red Jacket Trail would be a very wonderful project that they would help fund if we needed some extra monies to build a wider shoulder, let's say, or something. And then, of course, we've got the Rapidan Park, which I've emailed Al as future goes on. That's really a significant what would you call it, a physical plant of some sort. You know, there's not too many places in the state of Minnesota that has a dam with water going over it that's 85 feet.
From the bottom of the stream to the top, yeah.
It's about 85 feet tall. And so that's quite a park feature when you think about that. And then, of course, we don't really advertise it because it's not very accessible, but that huge piece of this, Al calls it the silt retention pond behind the
Yeah,
dam.
the flowage easement.
What's it called?
Flowage easement?
Flowage easement.
Yeah.
We own that land, don't we,
Yes.
behind that whole area back in there.
Yep.
And that could be a recreational area, part of the park too. It could be developed differently if we wanted to. Look at different things, you know, for Rapidan Dam down the road, to point out how regionally significant it really is. It offers overnight remote camping. There's a lot of things. We've already got 2 campgrounds that are heavily used, or quite heavily used, I guess, in southern Minnesota, with the beautiful lakes, and so anyway. So what I'm trying to say is that I'm going to encourage everybody from every county in our district. You know, I've already sent out letters to quite a few of them to start tallying the information that they've got for parks and what features. Why are they somewhat important to the region?
Sure.
And then they can look at that and send in their applications, you know, like, as we've been doing. But the DNR has been doing this the whole time, and now it's not going to be done that way anymore. So it's changing, like Al said.
All right.
Well, thank you very much, folks.
Yes,
Thank you, Al.
Thank you, Al.
Thank you, Al.
Happy New Year.
It's,
You too.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, I think we'll take a short break here. Call the meeting back to order. We're going to go into our railroad meeting. Commissioner Purvis, would you like to start it out?
Mr. Chair, we maybe need to recess our regular board meeting so we
You're
can
right.
move into
I
the
apologize.
Railroad
We asked for a
Authority.
recess.
I'll move for a recess.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? It's passed. All right, we will start with our Regional Railroad Authority annual meeting.
Okay, I will call the meeting to order. First order of business is to appoint officers. I have a nomination for chairperson.
I'd like to nominate Vance Stromberg.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, we'll vote on these all as one motion.
Okay.
The vice chair, I have a nomination for vice chair.
I'll nominate Kip Brunder.
I'll second that.
Okay, secretary.
Mark People.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, treasurer.
Drew
That
Campbell.
would be Drew Campbell.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Okay. And the executive director.
I'll nominate Bob Meyer.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, now we'll do one vote for all of the officers. Vance Stromberg is chairperson, Kip Brunder is vice chair, Mark People is secretary, Drew Campbell as treasurer, and executive director Robert Meyer. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Officers are appointed, and I will turn the meeting over to Chairman Vance Stromberg.
All right, you need an approval of the agenda.
Mr. Chair and Commissioners, there are no changes to the agenda today.
Such a big one, too. All
What
right.
is the agenda?
You're-
Approve the minutes.
you're doing
I
it.
know.
All right.
I'll make a motion to for the agenda review.
Okay, I'll second it.
All right, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against? It's passed. We need the approval of the minutes. Bob?
The minutes are from our meeting on January 7th of last year.
All right.
I'll move approval of the minutes.
Second.
All right, got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Is there anything else that we wanted to talk about as far as anything going on? Rails?
Not that I'm aware of.
Vance?
I don't see anything right at this time, no.
Okay.
But thank you.
Mhm.
All right, any more discussion? All right, All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion passed. All right, is there anything else, Bob?
That's all we had for the Railroad Authority, Mr. Chair.
All right, I would move to adjourn the Railroad Authority meeting.
I'll move to adjourn.
Second.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against? All right. Then we will go on to the Economic Development Authority annual meeting.
Okay, I will call the Economic Development Authority meeting to order. First order of business is election of officers. Have a nomination for chairperson.
I'll nominate Vance Struenberg as the chair.
Okay, is there a
Second.
second? Okay, the vice chair.
I would nominate Kip Brunder.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, for secretary.
I would nominate Mark People.
I'll second that.
Okay, for treasurer.
I'd nominate Drew Campbell.
Second.
Thank you.
Okay, and for executive director.
I'll nominate Bob Meyer as the director.
Second.
Okay. The officers have been nominated as Vance Struenberg chairperson, vice chairperson Kip Brunder, secretary Mark People, treasurer Drew Campbell, and executive director Robert Anderson.
Meyer.
Anderson. Meyer. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's carried. Turn the meeting over to chairperson Struenberg.
All right. We need the anything on the agenda?
Mr. Chair, there are no changes to the agenda.
I'll move the
Need,
agenda review.
Motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make motion to approve.
Second.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against? All right. Agenda's approved. Approval of the minutes, Bob?
Mr. Chair and Commissioners, the only item there is the minutes from September 23rd of 2014. That was our last meeting of the Economic Development Authority.
Okay.
Those are attached.
I'd move the minutes.
Second.
All right, minutes have been moved and second. Any discussion? All in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
And the second? Oh, against? I'll get this down pat yet. It's only my first day at the job.
That's right.
All right. All right. And is there anything else?
That's all we have today, Mr. Chair.
We need a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
All right. Move to adjourn, second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against? All right. So moved. And the Economic Development Authority meeting has been adjourned. We'll move back to some of our administrative services. Bob?
Mr. Chair and Commissioners, item number 6 in your packet is the Human Resources Department agenda for today. We do have one action item, that is the authorization for the County Board Chairperson and the County Administrator to sign an agreement with the Minnesota Public Employees Association, which is the union representing our corrections officers in the Blue Earth County Jail. The agreement does cover 2014 and 2015. It was a subject of an interest arbitration hearing, and the arbitrator did award a 2.5% general wage adjustment each of those 2 years, along with a couple of other things, the most significant being the first time that we'll need to pay shift differential for some of our 24/7 offices. So recommending approval of this union agreement with the Minnesota Public Employees Association.
Need a motion to approve?
I'll make motion to approve the authority for the county chairperson and our county administrator to sign the agreement with the Minnesota Public Employees Association.
A second?
Second.
All right, any discussion?
Just have a clarification, Bob, those are the people that work in our jail, isn't it, or who are
That
those
is
folks?
correct. That is correct.
Okay, so they're gonna be getting shift differential, which they've never gotten before, to work past a certain hour and then into the late night hours into the morning or something?
The agreement provides a 25 cent an hour shift differential for hours between 5 p.m. and 5 a.m. Those correspond with the 12-hour shifts that those staff provide.
Okay.
Is it true that this is an arbitrator's, this came after an arbitration?
This was the result of an interest arbitration award, that's correct.
So in reality, we don't have a choice.
Well, we're bound by that
That's
interest
correct.
arbitration, that's correct.
Okay. Any more discussion? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
And against? And that's been passed.
Under informational items, you'll see that we've initiated recruitment for an information system specialist in the Human Services Department. We also have filled a couple of positions, one a care coordinator in the public health area of Human Services, and we had an internal promotion to a clerical or to a senior account clerk position in the Human Services Department. So because of that internal promotion, we have initiated recruitment for a clerical specialist in the Extension office. We also have employment of a Clerk 1 in the Human Services Department to replace an individual left county employment. And then we have a number of employees that have completed their 6-month probationary period and are eligible for a salary adjustment, and those are listed in your packet.
And this is the Jesse Anderson that caused some confusion with me before, isn't it? Or not?
It is. He works in the
yeah.
Environmental Services Department.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Okay. Met him on that open house we had. I got to meet him, so.
Any other questions on the Human Resources agenda?
We are blessed to have a lot of Jessies in
Yeah.
Blue Earth County.
All right, Mr. Chair and Commissioners, item number 7 in your packet is kind of one of the organizational items we do every year. We set a crop damage payment schedule. The recommended damage schedule for 2015 is listed in your packet, with corn at $3.90, soybeans at $10.75, oats at $3.70, and wheat at $5.75. These rates were based on our discussion with the County Extension Office, and so we're recommending approval of those rates.
I'll move approval.
Second.
All right, any discussion?
Just that, you know, I'm not really a farm boy, and also I was raised 1 block off Hennepin Avenue in Minneapolis for my younger years. But every time this comes up, I always call at least one local person that is in the business of working with some of these things, and they do some research for me. Plus I do some online research just to see, you know, just to kind of double check what's going on. And most of these figures come in pretty good, you know, I mean, they look pretty good every time. So we get, and then we get these from the extension, right? Well,
Yeah, these are based, you can tell these are based on current crop prices.
Yeah.
You know, so.
but they have projections that go out till,
Yeah.
you know, 2 years from now.
Oh, yeah.
And so they look at this fall, this summer, spring.
Sure.
And it's just kind of nice to be able to educate myself a little bit on it, try to figure out what, you know, how do they come up with this amount?
It's kind of like predicting the weather, though.
But it's a fair amount.
Yeah.
Because some, they're, you know, it's in most cases a little bit more than what they're currently going for. So.
Yeah.
So anyway.
And I would add that, you know, this is a point in time prediction in terms of what the rates or the commodity prices might be later in the year if some of the work, and the board has in the past adjusted these rates during the year if they find that these commodity prices are quite a bit different than what we've listed here. So we have the option to revise these later on if need be.
And it mostly relates to when we're doing what, ditch work, and maybe you have to take a right of way or work in a right of way area that's to do some bridge work or something maybe, or I don't know.
We typically try and plan those projects in ways that don't interrupt the crop growing, but obviously we have some projects that does result in those damages occurring.
All right, Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against? Been passed.
Mr. Chair and Commissioners, item number 8 then in your packet are bids for publishing information that the county is required by statute to publish. And so you'll see a list there, starting with the delinquent tax list. The Maple River Messenger had the low bid there. The Board of Commissioner and Board of Equalization summaries, again, Maple River Messenger was the low bid. Legal notices for 2015, we're recommending the Mankato Free Press. The layout of the annual financial report, again, the low bid comes from Mankato Free Press. The printing of the annual financial statement, recommending the Mankato Free Press. And then the insertion rate of the annual financial statement, we are required to have 2 separate papers for this, so we would have the Free Press and the Maple River Messenger.
All right.
Do you want these done one at a time?
I think they can be done all as one.
They can, okay. I would move the recommendations then for the advertising.
Second.
Second. Any discussion on this? Well, this is one of my burrs in my back since I became a county commissioner. I don't see how getting the Maple River Messenger with a delinquent tax list is going to help the people in the city of Mankato find out what that tax list is. But it's our legislators up at the Capitol have been subject to pressure from obviously the newspaper industry, and have failed to change this. It would be so much more fair to have this go directly to our website and have the county put out what it deems necessary for the people. It would be more people would get the information. It would be cheaper. It would help the taxpayer and our public so much more if we had the ability to do this. If it went via internet, there's more people in the county that would get this than if they're the people that are signed up to read the Maple River Messenger. I really appreciate it. It's a great newspaper, but I don't get that newspaper. So, but by state law, we need to do this, and but we certainly this is certainly something that is not fair. It's not fair to the taxpayer. It's not fair to the county. But there's
Yeah, I know it's. Now, do some of these get printed on our website anyway, Bob?
Some of this information is posted on our website, that's correct.
Yeah. I think we talked about this last year. You brought it up, Lance.
Yeah, it's something this is something I get on my soapbox every year for.
No, I know. I was just thinking that maybe we could make sure it all gets on our website in an effort to see maybe how that, if all of it could get on there somehow. I don't know if there's a page they could click on for legal notices, an icon just on the side, of our website. It just says legal notices, and then it's all there.
I'm sure we could put it all on our website. It just would take some IT work and some work on.
I can talk with staff about how we would do that.
We do have a section.
Is there?
It's a matter of making sure we put all of the information.
Okay.
But just have to
Okay.
be more diligent about getting that.
Okay. I remember we talked about that last year, that
Yeah.
maybe we should just go ahead and put them all on there anyway as they change, so that we can see how people are being informed on the website. And maybe someday this then could go away. Once we.
Well, it's something AMC has been pushing
Yeah.
every year, but it's like I said, it's up to the state legislator. And since we're governed by the state of Minnesota on this, it's what we have to do. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against? passed.
Mr. Chair and Commissioners, item number 9 in your packet then is a resolution. Minnesota statute does require that the county board adopt a resolution annually to offer a bounty for the destruction of gophers. We are recommending a bounty of 50 cents per striped gopher and $1 per pocket gopher for 2015. So I bring that here for your consideration.
I'll move approval.
Second?
All right, any discussion? Drew?
Well, I'm just wondering, my son
How
graduated
come
from
I
the
knew
University of
that?
Minnesota, I just don't know if he would appreciate this very much, you know, because he supports the Gophers.
As a Gopher alumni, so do I.
I would like to add one clarification that the striped gopher is not actually a gopher, it's a 13-line ground squirrel.
Is it really?
Yeah.
So maybe it's.
Well, there you
maybe
go.
we should go on a protected species list for our county.
I wouldn't go that far.
All right.
Someday it would be fun to do a little research on this though, because if there's some kids that are doing this, I don't know if we have many people doing this.
How much we pay out last year for gophers?
$113.
Yeah.
Got some.
But I'm just wondering, what's the purpose in having 50 for one and $1 for the other? I just wanted to ask, does anybody know? Just something historical.
Maybe well, you know, the gophers do mess up.
Oh,
the
they damage a lot of
countryside.
things, but yeah.
And that's the reason it was put into effect, because of the damage they do. I'm not sure if the pocket gopher does more damage than the striped gopher, but
They make a
they make a mess. I know a lot. When I grew up on the farm, there was, you know,
Well, the
and
reason
I made a few bucks back in my
That's what I'm
day.
asking, because if there are any kids, I'd like to encourage them to do something where they can make money, because you know, our culture, the way things are set up because of fear, I believe children aren't really allowed to work like they used to be able to do years ago. You know, there's the child labor laws have made it so people are very afraid what a young person can do for money. And so I'd like someday, maybe next year, we could look at why couldn't it be $1 for each gopher, you know, that kind of thing, to encourage kids that live out in the rural area to make some money if they want to.
You want to mess up our whole budget?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just throwing it out there to keep it simple. That way it would be $1 a gopher, no matter what kind it is, if it's a 13-line ground squirrel or if it's a pocket gopher. But just something to consider, you know.
I just want to make sure that Jesse Anderson is still in charge of counting the gopher feet when they bring them.
I was gonna say, do we bring them to Jesse?
you?
We get the price up there. I might be interested in doing this.
Actually, the townships pay the individuals and we pay the townships.
Reimburse them.
So I suppose we should check with the townships, because
Yeah.
we don't need to reimburse the townships more than they're reimbursing the individual.
You mean the
No.
county doesn't require you to verify?
I don't have to physically.
They could take a photograph, couldn't they, and send it in. No,
Well, we won't change that, okay?
you know,
Thank you.
I know we're okay as far as schedule, aren't we, on time and things like that today? I just wanted to mention, because when I was younger, I'm gonna tell you, I was raised, you know, Blackhawk, Hennepin, until I moved here in 1970. But there was opportunities all over Minneapolis as a child to work. And we swept sidewalks, shoveled, you know, did all those kind of things. Get paid 25 cents basically, probably an hour is what it was in the 60s. And then I was graduated up to helping sweep and mop inside of a small grocery store in 5th grade. And then in 6th grade, I was bagging and stocking shelves for 75 cents an hour. And that was a very big thing for me. I'm just gonna tell you. Number one, it kept me out of trouble, because the store I worked at was right on Hennepin Avenue. And instead of hanging out in front of the store, I was working there. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's very limited what kids can do today to earn $1. And so that's why I'm speaking to this, not because of the humorous aspects of it.
Point well taken.
Okay.
There's
Thank
lots
you
of
very much.
opportunities for farm kids. I mean, there's lots
there?
of work for farm kids out there.
Is there?
Not so much for the kids that live in the small communities, but
Yeah.
for the kids that grow up on farms and stuff.
They can work and get some pay.
There's lots of opportunities
Oh,
there.
All right.
good.
Well, if there's nothing else,
Anything else?
We're still talking about the Gophers.
No, I'm fine.
Yep.
Do we
Okay.
vote on it?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. That's why I'm waiting for you, Drew.
We've had
I am.
some spirited discussion.
Yeah, I know, it's the most we've ever talked about it in 5 years I've been here.
Drew wants to mess up our whole budget.
I know.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against?
Sorry, Pat.
All right, passed. And then next time we have a discussion, somebody else will be chair of the. All right, loan interest rates.
Mr. Chair and Commissioners, item number 10 in your packet is a memo regarding the loan interest rates for the small cities loan as well as the ditch balance loans. The county board is required to set the interest rate each year at the January meeting for all these loans. The policy does state that the interest rate shall be 0.5% less than the prime rate on the date of the organizational meeting, but shall not exceed 8% or be less than 4%. And so based on the prime rate as it is today, we are recommending an interest rate of 4% for both the small cities loan as well as the ditch balance loans.
So moved.
Second.
All right, any discussion?
I think it's a good thing.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against? Passed.
Item number 11 in your packet then is a letter of engagement with this Office of the State Auditor's Office. This is a letter that we receive annually as they begin their audit of the Blue Earth County financial records for the previous year. There's, I believe there's 7 pages of information outlining the role that the state auditor will perform for Blue Earth County, and so we're recommending approval of this letter of engagement.
So moved.
Second.
All right, any discussion?
Has the representative from the auditor's office met with anybody yet here on the board?
The representative did meet with the finance director and myself to outline the schedule, but I believe the chair will be scheduled here shortly.
Okay.
No other discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against? Passed.
Mr. Chair, item number 12 in the packet is a reappointment of a member to the Personnel Board of Appeals. We are required by statute to have a Personnel Board of Appeal. We have 3 individuals that have been appointed to that board in the past, and one of those positions is expiring January 1st of this year, and so we're recommending that Dennis McCoy be reappointed with a term expiring January 1st of 2018.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, you got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Just
Drew?
appreciate the materials I got, because I never really see this board doing a lot. I haven't heard much about it, and apparently it only comes up periodically, so something that we have to have statutorily.
That's correct.
Well, and I don't think there's anybody with more experience and background than Dennis McCoy.
Oh, is that the Dennis McCoy?
It is.
Oh, wow.
Might change your vote now, or?
Yeah. I'm teasing, Dennis.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against? It's passed.
Item number 13 in your packet then is a on-sale liquor license for 2015. This is for Morgan Creek Vineyards. We now have received all the required paperwork and has been submitted along with the fees, and so recommending approval by the county board.
Move approval.
Second.
Okay, any question, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against? It's passed.
And item number 14 in your packet are 2 ditch inspector reports, one on County Ditch 27. We have a number of tile blowouts on a couple different pieces of property. The estimated cost of repairing 4 of those repairs is $1,000, with the balance in the account set at $20,000. And then the second report is for County Ditch 93. There's an open ditch portion that has some sediment that has built up causing some blockage. We need to do some spot cleaning as well in the ditch. Again, the estimated cost of the cleaning is $2,000. The balance in the account is $24,000.
I'll move approval.
Second?
Any discussion? No discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against? It's been passed. Anything else, Bob?
Mr. Chair, that's all we have for today.
Ask for
Make
a
a motion for continuance, or what would you call it?
Recess.
Recess to Rounders for luncheon.
I'll second it.
All right. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Good job, Mr. Chair.